Hello and welcome. You're watching the Truth Report. Now the headlines. Tensions escalate in Nigeria's Plateau State as Christian women lead peaceful protests following the brutal killing of a vigilante leader and torture of farmers. Residents of Agatu County, Benue State reject the return of the Fulani ethnic group, citing years of violence and unrest. Concerns rise over the potential return of oil exploration in Ogoni land, a region scarred by decades of environmental damage. And residents of Basa County, a majorly Christian community in Plateau State, north-central Nigeria, are accusing members of the Nigerian army of failing to protect their communities. This comes after reports surfaced that soldiers allegedly stood by as Fulani extremists attacked women farmers peacefully working on their land. The incident, which occurred near a military checkpoint, has sparked outrage and exposed glaring security lapses. The women, joined by other community members, are now demanding the immediate removal of both soldiers and herders from the region. Now, since 2016, more than 2,000 lives have been lost in Rigwe Chiefdom as Christian farming communities face relentless attacks. Truth Nigeria TV's Lawrence Zongo brings us more on this story.
Mothers, wives, and daughters in Ijarivo, a community in Basa County, Plateau State, Nigeria, marched in defense after being beaten and brutalized by suspected Fulani extremists. These women, victims of off-provoked attacks, says Nigerian soldiers stood idly by as they were attacked while peacefully walking on their farmlands. Holding cardboard signs with bold messages, the women are calling on the government to expel Fulani extremists from their community, as well as Nigerian soldiers for failing to protect them during recent attacks that left a local vigilante leader dead. Some of the women who were attacked narrate what transpired.
They just come. They call them to come and settle, but they just come, start putting tear gas. We are trying to run. They just start flogging us. We don't know, and it is a Fulani soldier that did this to me. So please, we need justice in our land. That is what we need.
According to the protesting women, their husbands who went to lay complaints of the attacks before security operatives were also arrested. Chief Daniel Chega, paramount ruler of Miango district, strongly condemned the violence and called for immediate government intervention to protect local residents.
They destroyed my farm and they came and arrested me. Is that fair? It's not fair. So that is why the women wake up whom their husband have been arrested. With the support of their press, they march to where the soldiers are. They told them they don't want them any longer. They don't need soldiers in Miango land any longer. So many farms, so many lambus. So many lambus. We call it lambu, that is dry season gardening. They destroy a lot, uncountable.
The Fulanis do not have any house around here. Where are they coming from to destroy their farms? Yes. Despite the agreement that was signed between the Fulanis and the Rigwe people, they have not complied to the agreement that was signed, yet they have returned back. And while people were celebrating the New Year Day ceremony, their farms were destroyed. And on both days, and even yesterday, so many farms were destroyed. And unfortunately, while the protest was going on here today, the Fulanis were still attacking some people they found in the farms.
Yes.
As Niger River mourns, yet another tragedy, is calls for justice and peace grow louder. Without decisive action, the community fears that the violence will persist. Plateau State and federal authorities have been called upon to address this demand and ensure safety and stability for Niger River and neighboring region. In Jos, Lawrence Zongo, Truth Nigeria TV.
And tensions are escalating in Agatu County, Benue State, north-central Nigeria, as residents firmly reject the return of the Fulani ethnic group to their lands. This rejection follows a recent peace accord where Fulani leaders apologized for past atrocities in an attempt to reconcile with the Agatu County after 12 years of violent conflict. Despite the apology, Agatu residents who have suffered devastating attacks insist they cannot coexist with the Fulanis. Local leaders have voiced strong opposition to the Fulanis' return, calling the move unacceptable and stating that the return of the Fulani ethnic group would only reopen wounds of genocide committed against the people.
There is no land for Fulani to occupy or stay the present generations. So we are in the modern life. If there's anything that is do at all to make sure that for the peace to reign, let Fulani avoid coming to Agatu for now, so that people of Agatu can resettle down in their central home first before they think of anything to do. For now, bringing Fulani to Agatu land is like you are bringing terrorists that they kill your people to come and still killing your people. Because if any farmer see them, they run away from the farm. Is that how they bring peace? Is that how they do the settlement? First of all, Fulani have to even vacate the Agatu land first before they talk about either to negotiate with them to come back or not.
As I speak to you now, the Fulani herdsmen are in Agatu. Not just in Agatu, they are also attacking people. You may have read on the social media a lady who was asked to give Fulani herdsman, money. That lady obeyed. She's from Ocholana and Agatu local government. And then the Fulani now, quickly turned around and said, it is no longer money that I need. I need your private part. That Kibani Duri, that is what the Fulani man said. And that lady said, no, I will not do that. And then he now forced himself on that lady. And then the lady struggled and pulled out of that Fulani. What happened? He now macheted the lady on the mouth.
And officials in Plateau State, Nigeria, are taking action to fight land grabbing by terrorist groups by establishing state-run plantations in vulnerable communities. This move comes as reports show land seizures in the state have risen by 200% over the past 2 years, with more than 200 villages being forcibly occupied by armed groups. The plan was announced by the Plateau State Commissioner of Agriculture, Samson Ishaku, on January 20th during a ceremony at the Government House in Jos, where tractors donated by the World Bank were presented to local universities and institutions. Truth Nigeria TV's Master Akeem has more details.
We give this tractor to you.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang has condemned the terror attacks in the state as genocidal, aimed at ethnic displacement and land grabbing. To counter this, the state is cultivating 15,000 hectares of land and distributing tractors to vulnerable communities.
Last year we cultivated 6,000 hectares, but this year we're looking at doing 15,000 hectares for vulnerable communities, schools in particular. So one of the things that His Excellency has asked us to do, he has asked us to go around secondary school and cultivate their lands.
The initiative under the Agro-Climatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscape Project aims to recover lands under threat and produce sufficient food for the state's vulnerable population.
We have the desire, the real desire in our hearts to see how we can mechanize agriculture properly on the plateau. We have a goal of taking away the hoes and the cutlasses and then bring in some level of technology to be able to meet the mechanization need of Plateau State. when we came in at the beginning, we did an assessment of Plateau State, and it will shock you that the percentage mechanization of Plateau State is 0.05%. That is how bad it is. And we had looked at schemes that had been set before, and what is it that make them work, and what is it that did not make them work. And not because we intend to chide any person, but because we want a situation where this particular scheme will work.
Professor Shedrack Best, the Vice Chancellor of the Plateau State University Bocos, commended the initiative and pledged proper use of the equipment.
In our respective institutions, like you have said, we are involved either with training young Platonians into the mindset of agriculture, and that is the future, because a nation must be able to feed its population. And when the young people are interested in agriculture, then you can guarantee that food will not be a national challenge. And the objectives of food security, which are cardinal to the federal government and to the Plateau State government, would be achieved.
In Jos, Masara Kim.
To other stories now, African leaders and activists gathered in Washington to celebrate Donald Trump's return to the White House, marking the beginning of what he called the golden age of America. Trump's promises to revive the economy, secure borders, and end foreign wars were highlighted during the festivities. At a multicultural ball, supporters from Uganda, South America, and across the U.S. danced and cheered, rallying behind Trump's vision for a stronger America. Pastor Mark Burns, one of the event organizers, declared, open quote, "It's the golden age of America. We refuse to let China and Russia destroy our freedom," end quote. Trump swiftly signed executive orders, including a 90-day hold on foreign aid, which will impact countries like Nigeria, where critics argue U.S. assistance often does more harm than good. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is focused on addressing terrorism in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, and supporting persecuted Christians. As Trump's administration reshapes U.S. foreign policy, Nigerian supporters in Washington and back home in Nigeria expressed hope for a more secure and prosperous future under his leadership. And in Anambra State, southeastern Nigeria, surge in kidnappings for ransom raises alarm among residents. More details on this and other stories when we return. Stay with us. Thank you for staying. Here's a quick rundown of our top stories. Residents of Bassa County, a majorly Christian community in Plateau State, north-central Nigeria, are accusing members of the Nigerian army of failing to protect their communities. This comes after reports surfaced that soldiers allegedly stood by as Fulani extremists attacked women farmers peacefully working on their land. The incident, which occurred near a military checkpoint, has sparked outrage and exposed glaring security lapses. The women, joined by other community members, are now demanding the immediate removal of both soldiers and herders from the region. And tensions are escalating in Agato County, Benue State, north-central Nigeria, as residents firmly reject the return of the Fulani ethnic group to their lands. After 12 years of violent attacks, local leaders have voiced strong opposition to the Fulani's return, calling the move unacceptable, stating that the return of the Fulani ethnic group would only reopen wounds of genocide committed against the people. And Nigeria is preparing to restart oil production in the highly contested Ogoni land located in the oil-rich Niger Delta region. On Tuesday, President Bola Tinubu hosted Ogoni leaders, including Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, alongside key ministers at the Aso Villa to discuss plans for resuming exploration. However, the move has sparked criticism from environmental groups who are demanding a halt to the government's plans. Activists argue that meaningful dialogue with local communities must be prioritized before any exploration resumes in the area, which has long been plagued by environmental degradation and tension. The story of Ogoni land, nestled in Nigeria's oil-rich Niger Delta, is one of loss, resilience and unresolved pain. Since 1958, crude oil exploration has brought widespread environmental degradation to this region. Drinking water, farmland and rivers, the lifeblood of the Ogoni people, were poisoned by oil spills, leaving generations struggling with poverty, poor health and devastated ecosystems. In 2011, a United Nations Environmental Programme study revealed staggering levels of pollution, prompting the launch of a $1 billion cleanup in 2018. However, progress has been slow, with significant portions of the region still heavily contaminated. Despite the devastation being witnessed by the Ogoni people, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu convened this meeting at the presidential villa to discuss oil exploration in Ogoni land. President Tinubu urged the Ogoni people to embrace unity and reconciliation, calling for the resumption of oil production despite ongoing cleanup efforts and the community's history of environmental devastation.
Collectively, we belong in this country. We are all responsible. As much as possible, we cannot in any way rewrite the history, but we can correct some anomalies going forward.
At the meeting, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara pledged his delegation's commitment to ensuring the success of the government's objectives, including the resumption of oil production.
Because, Mr. President, the love we have for you, the respect we have for you, is just for you to say, you're behind that meeting, we should go back and continue the consultation with a timeline so that this issue of oil, resumption of oil operation in Ogoni land will commence.
Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, also commended the Ogoni people for choosing dialogue and collaboration. He described the meeting as a step toward achieving lasting peace and development in the region.
Your Excellency, the presence of this delegation is a testament to the Ogoni people's readiness to engage constructively in the pursuit of peace, justice, and a sustainable development. Their willingness to participate in this dialogue reflects a shared hope for meaningful progress and enduring solutions.
Civil society groups have strongly opposed the move to restart oil production in Ogoni land. They demand $1 trillion in compensation for decades of environmental destruction and lost livelihoods, alongside a complete cleanup of the Niger Delta. Activists warn that resuming operations without addressing these demands could reignite tensions in a region already scarred by decades of neglect. For the Ogoni people, the promise of a clean environment remains unfulfilled. Their story is a stark reminder of the cost of industrial development when accountability and sustainability are overlooked. Now to southeastern Nigeria, where residents of Anambra State, a key commercial hub, is grappling with a sharp rise in abductions. Victims, including business owners and travelers, are being targeted by criminal gangs demanding hefty ransoms. residents say the kidnappings are disrupting daily life. The local government says it is working with police and vigilante groups to combat the threat, but many feel more needs to be done to restore security. Well, to better understand the ongoing security crisis in Anambra State, where kidnappings and killings are on the rise, we turn to Emeka Umagbalasi, a criminologist and peace studies expert based in Anambra State. Emeka, thank you so much for being here. Now, most recently, a staff member of Polaris Bank was abducted and later killed in Anambra State. Her body left, by the roadside despite the ransom being paid. As a criminologist, how would you assess the growing trend of abductions for ransom in Anambra State?
From critical independent perspective, the Anambra State has been grappling with insecurity and other unsafe conditions, most especially as it has to do with abduction for ransom and then associated atrocities, like you just mentioned. And well, it is not only it is not only in Anambra State. It cuts across the 5 southeast states.
All right. Some residents who spoke to Truth Nigeria TV anonymously claim the Southeast is being infiltrated by Fulani herdsmen who are specifically targeting Christians. Now, since Anambra is predominantly a Christian state, do you believe this claim holds any truth?
Yes, those residents are partly correct in their submission. According to our report, the Fulani herdsmen have been the jihadist Fulani herdsmen and the allied jihadists. Because what we have in the southeast is no longer the Fulani herdsmen alone. We also have allied jihadists, including the Shua Arabs, imported Shua Arabs, imported the Bagara Arabs, imported the jihadists from Maghreb region of Africa, and so on and so forth, who were imported in Nigeria, who were flooded in eastern part of the country between 2016 and the 2019, so 2020, COVID-19 and what have you, but particularly between 2016 and 2017. They are presently occupying more than 1,000 locations in the southeast, in eastern Nigeria, or south and southeast. The security forces, authorities of Nigerian security forces, like I segmentally mentioned, we have never admitted that Fulani herdsmen has accounted for even 0.1% of what is the insecurity and other unsafe conditions that are troubling the people of the southeast and by extension the south. They have never admitted. But this is contrary to our statistical findings that the jihadist Fulani herdsmen and the allied others have been responsible for the death of not less than 6,000 Easterners, defenseless Easterners, and hundreds of millions of naira worth of their properties since 2016, April 2016 attack at Nimbo, till last year, being 1st of December 2024.
All right, Emeka Umagbalasi, criminologist and peace studies expert, thank you for sharing your insights, and please stay safe. All right, we've heard from a criminologist and resident of Anambra State. Let's balance the discussion by hearing from a government authority. Joining me now is Honorable Law Mefo, the Commissioner for Information in Anambra State. Honorable Mefo, thank you for joining us. It's good to have you with us. Now, let's begin. Do you reside in Anambra State? Would you say it is safe for residents to live there right now? Do you personally ever feel concerned for your safety given the recent surge in kidnappings and killings?
What a question. I live in Anambra. and celebrated the Christmas in my village. I was there for 2 weeks. I go to my village almost every weekend. I move around Anambra State. And not just me, all of us, we live here. And this is a 2024 Christmas. Could possibly be one of the best in terms of the number of returnees in the Anambra that came home. It was quite massive and very major programs held even in areas where some believe are security challenged.
All right. Well, in a recent interview with Truth Nigeria TV, some residents spoke to us and said, and I quote, "Our governor is focused on constructing roads, but if people leave the state due to kidnappings and attacks, who will use those roads?" So how does the government balance infrastructural development with ensuring the safety of its citizens? What is your response to those who feel the government prioritizes infrastructure over their security?
Government has come up with a comprehensive security intervention that we call Operation Udogachi. That's it. And if you know about Amotekun in the southwest, then we have created ours in Anambra here. It's called the Ogoni Chamber. That is the plan. A very comprehensive kinetic and non-kinetic security action plan that has been put in place. More boots on ground, and that means that many more vigilante operatives are being trained and released, deployed. And of course, they are working together because Operation Udogachi is actually a joint task force, strike force, between 6 security agencies. That is to guarantee that insecurity in Anambra State is rooted out once and for all.
All right. Lastly, now, briefly, please, do you believe creating more jobs will reduce or eliminate these attacks and kidnappings? Many argue that kidnapping for ransom, has become a business for young people. So what is the government's strategy to address this?
The agitators that live in the bush constitute only a part of the problem. You have cultists. These are people who commit all manner of things, ritual murder, and so on and so forth, as a way of making money. So kidnapping has become a criminal enterprise. It's a full-blown business. That's the point we're making. That people are using, some of them are using Biafra agitation, incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu as an excuse. It is not true. Even Nnamdi Kanu has dissociated himself from a sit-at-home. He has dissociated himself from any form of violence. IPOB has done so. But you have some pockets who believe in pursuing the use of arms, and to do this, living in the bush, they have to kill, they have to kidnap, they have to ask for ransom. That is the point here. Nobody can deny that a segment of that exists. Then you have other criminal elements who are also in the bush, collecting, kidnapping for ransom. Let me tell you, many may not know what you call Yahoo Yahoo may not be paying as much as it was doing before. Many of these Yahoo boys are also now kidnappers. We need to understand all this.
All right, Honorable Lawmafor, Commissioner for Information in Anambra State, thank you so much for speaking with us. Well, that's the size of our news bulletin. Thank you for watching. I am Mary Kanu. Bye for now.